Welcome to episode 546 of AI Brief. I'm your host, Amin, and I'm joined by my co-host, Leah.
Hi, everyone.
So today's deep dive is, well, it's a wild one. We're looking at Japan's Sakana building this really clever multi-agent workaround to U.S. export bans. Plus, SpaceX turning its supercomputers into, like, a multi-billion-dollar rental empire. And Google bankrolling the indie film Darling A24.
Yeah, and, the really fascinating through line for all of this today is just the intense, almost extreme creative lengths companies are going to right now.
Right.
Whether it's dodging compute bottlenecks, surviving export controls, or navigating Hollywood's intense skepticism. The old rules are just completely out the window at this point.
Exactly. I mean, let's start with a massive disruption. Imagine building a state-of-the-art skyscraper, right? The views are great, business is booming, but you built it directly on top of a major fault line.
Yeah, a disaster waiting to happen.
Right. And everything feels incredibly stable up until the exact moment the ground shifts.
For a lot of international tech labs, that earthquake hit the day a U.S. order pulled the plug on Anthropic's top models, like Mythos and Fable. Suddenly, the whole industry realized that relying on one giant centralized AI model from a foreign company was terrifying. Your whole product could just vanish overnight.
Totally. And when you lose access to the absolute best models on the market overnight, you have to get creative incredibly fast, which is exactly what Japan's Sakana AI has done with their new model Fugu.
Yeah, and to understand Fugu, you have to think of it like a general contractor on a construction site. Instead of trying to build one giant, genius model to replace Anthropic, Fugu doesn't actually do all the work itself.
Right, it's an orchestrator.
Exactly. You hand it a prompt, and it chooses specialized helper models for the task. It assigns the work out, checks the results, and merges it all together. And the end user just sees one simple text box.
But, I mean, I have to ask, why is this considered a massive breakthrough? Because couldn't any competent developer just string a few APIs together and call it a multi-agent team?
It's a fair question, but it really gets to the heart of why orchestration is so difficult. Stringing APIs together is easy, sure, but making them work cohesively is incredibly hard.
Like, technically speaking.
Yeah, technically. You're dealing with overlapping context windows, severe latency from passing tokens back and forth between different models, and crucially, you have to synthesize conflicting answers into one output without hallucinating.
Right, which is notoriously tricky.
Exactly. Sakana built an architecture that does all this routing dynamically in the background, and it is a direct response to geopolitical pressure. They're explicitly pitching this orchestration as a hedge against export controls.
So you don't need the smartest model if you have an orchestra of really good, smaller, open-source ones.
Precisely. And they're releasing it in two versions. There's the standard Fugu, optimized for speed for everyday chat and coding, and then the heavier Ultra version.
Which is for the big stuff, right?
Yeah, think deep patent research or rigorous security testing, places where it might need to consult 20 different helper models. Sakana actually claims both models perform at or near the level of Anthropic's Fable 5 and Mythos on standardized tests.
See, I have to challenge those benchmark claims, though. Standing shoulder to shoulder with the absolute frontier sounds amazing on paper. But looking at the early users, the reception is really mixed.
It is. People are skeptical.
Because the real-world performance just isn't matching the scoreboard. And the bigger issue is the cost opacity. Since that whole multi-agent setup is hidden, you have zero visibility into the actual model mix.
Right, the hidden costs.
Yeah. You send one prompt, but Fugu might fire off 30 subprompts in the background. The compute cost is a total black box. So it's a fascinating way to dodge export controls, but the costs put it in the wait-and-see file for a lot of people.
Well, and if Sakana's approach is secretly chewing through massive amounts of compute, that perfectly explains the next story, because you have to look at the raw physical hardware powering all of this.
Oh, man. The SpaceX deal.
Yeah.
SpaceX just signed this staggering $6.3 billion computing lease with a startup called Reflection AI. And they're using SpaceX's massive Colossus data centers. Now, Colossus was built to train Elon Musk's Grok models.
Right.
But here is where it gets really interesting. It's rapidly becoming this massive industry-wide rental hub.
Yeah, and to grasp the scale, that $6.3 billion deal with Reflection AI, that is actually the smallest of SpaceX's compute customers.
Wait, really? The smallest?
Yes. Anthropic is spending $1.25 billion a month with them. Google is spending $920 million. And Cursor, which was just acquired for $60 billion, is heavily relying on them too.
Okay, wait, I need to pause on that. If SpaceX is renting out billions in compute to Anthropic, Google, and Cursor, Aren't they basically just selling shovels during a gold rush?
Pretty much.
It raises this incredibly provocative thought. Does it even matter if Grok reaches the absolute frontier if SpaceX is cashing in on the compute crunch as the ultimate AI landlord? They win the AI race on infrastructure revenue alone.
That is exactly the underlying economic reality right now. Software labs are burning through billions of venture capital to build intelligence, but the INS providers are locking in guaranteed astronomical revenue today.
Wow.
And regarding Reflection AI, they want to build open frontier systems for government and enterprise. They don't even have a public model yet, but they still had to commit $6.3 billion just to secure the raw capacity to start trying.
The sheer cost is terrifying. And honestly, that financial reality is exactly why end users, like major Hollywood studios, are terrified of building their own foundation models.
Oh, absolutely. They do not want to buy servers.
No, they want highly specific rented tools. Which brings us to the silver screen. AI is crashing into Hollywood. Google has just bankrolled the indie studio A24 with a $75 million investment to build filmmaker-specific tools with DeepMind.
And the structure of this is fascinating because it's so defensive. This is Google's first direct stake in a film studio. A24 gets DeepMind's research support, but crucially, they are not handing over their film library.
Right, no training data for Google.
Exactly. They are keeping their IP strictly walled off. And A24's tech lead, Scott Belsky, he's a former Adobe executive, he's been very clear, they are building AI storyboards.
But what does that actually mean in practice? Because when people hear AI in Hollywood, they picture someone typing, "make a moody indie film," into a prompt box and out pops a movie.
Right, and Belsky explicitly stated it won't look anything like that, no prompted generation. Instead, imagine highly granular workflow tools.
Okay, so more like digital assistants.
Yeah, like a director locks in a character design, then uses AI to adjust the lighting on a specific storyboard frame. Or they instantly change a camera angle on a sketch without redrawing it. It's filmmaker-shaped workflows to give artists more control, not replace them.
Which they have to say, because the cultural tension in Hollywood is completely radioactive right now, and the irony is palpable. This is coming right after A24's huge success with Backrooms.
Oh, right.
The director of that film, Kane Parsons, literally called AI a symptom of a broader cultural and economic rot.
Yeah, that's a strong statement.
Very strong. So when your own directors are calling it rot, and legends like Scorsese are pushing back against even the lightest AI touches, you have to wonder, can A24 actually survive a fan base that is fiercely hostile toward AI?
It's a delicate tightrope walk. By focusing purely on workflow efficiency like storyboarding and protecting their data, A24 is trying to dodge the core criticisms.
But the public doesn't always see the difference.
Exactly. Differentiating between a back-end tool and a generative engine is tough for the public. Convincing film purists that these are just digital assistants like CGI once was is going to be a steep uphill battle.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so we've covered the geopolitical workarounds, the massive data centers, Hollywood pushback. Let's unpack everything else happened today. Take us through the radar.
You got it. Let's start with security because things are escalating rapidly. The Five Eyes cyber agencies, that's the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, they released a unified, stark warning. They are stating clearly that AI is shifting cyber risk in a time frame of months, not years. The speed and sophistication of attacks are accelerating so fast that executives need to harden defenses immediately.
Months, not years. That's alarming.
It is. And parallel to that, OpenAI is significantly expanding its Daybreak cyber program. They've introduced a new Codex Security plugin, deployed their GPT 5.5 cyber model, and launched a massive initiative called Patch the Planet.
Patch the Planet. Catchy.
Very. It's focused entirely on using AI to identify and fix open source flaws globally before malicious actors can exploit them.
Okay, so that's the security side. What about infrastructure?
It's booming. Micron just signed a strategic deal with Anthropic. They're supplying memory chips, but they're also actively co-designing the underlying AI infra from the ground up and investing directly in Anthropic Series H.
Wow, they're really getting in bed together.
Exactly. Also on hardware, Baofeng just announced a $1.5 billion funding round at a $13 billion valuation. Over the last year, their revenue grew 20x, and they are now hitting over 1 billion daily inference calls.
Okay, wait, I want to pause right there. 1 billion daily inference calls. Because that volume of math brings up a harsh physical reality. These data centers get incredibly hot.
Yeah, they do.
And I saw that detail about NVIDIA's new Rubin servers being the first to use 100% liquid cooling. But the crazy part is they mention the coolant runs at hot tub temperature.
Right.
Logically, that makes no sense to me. How does pumping hot water over a server actually cool it down?
It sounds totally counterintuitive, but it's brilliant thermodynamics. Usually you use massive energy-hungry chillers to get the water down to like 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Which takes a ton of power.
Exactly. But NVIDIA engineered the Rubin servers to operate safely even if the coolant hitting them is 100 degrees. Because the acceptable temperature is so high, you don't need those massive chillers.
Oh, so you just use regular air.
Yes, you just use ambient outdoor air to cool the water back to 100 degrees before looping it back over. It slashes energy use and can reduce water usage by up to 100% in the right climates.
That is incredibly smart.
And that leads directly into NVIDIA's viral zero-water AI factory design. It's a closed-loop system with near-zero water consumption. It got 12 million views on a recent post, and it's gaining massive momentum with local city councils who are worried about water demands.
That's huge for getting those data centers approved.
Definitely. And finally, just briefly on policy and marketing. In California, Representative Sam Liccardo introduced the Skill Act, offering up to $5,000 per worker in tax credits for AI college training.
Nice.
And 11 Labs just launched Ads Engine. It connects directly to Meta, Google, and LinkedIn. It auto-translates, adapts images, and dubs your video creatives across more than 50 languages. Plus, it actively monitors performance data.
That sheer scale is just mind-blowing. Okay, so we've been talking about these massive corporate shifts, but let's shift gears to high-impact productivity.
Let's do it.
Today's trending AI tools. I want to clearly define a practical use case for each so you can apply them immediately. First up is Sakana Fugu, which we talked about.
Yep.
You can use it as an automated project manager. Farm out complex everyday coding tasks, and it'll route the work to the best underlying model, saving you from jumping between 5 different interfaces.
Which is a huge time saver.
Huge. Next is HappyHorse 1.1. This is Alibaba's new video model. If you're running a fast-paced marketing campaign and need visual assets generated quickly without a full production team, this is the tool. Then we have Codex Security from OpenAI. This is that plugin for developers. You drop it into your workflow to actively discover and patch code vulnerabilities. It's basically an automated security auditor.
Reviewing every line of code.
Exactly. Now, moving to workflow automation, there's Eve, an open-source framework from Vercel. It instantly turns a static file directory into an active, searchable agent.
Right, so instead of manually searching old PDFs, you just point Eve at your files and converse with your own knowledge base.
Spot on. Next is Meev. It's a PR tool that tracks exactly how and where a brand is being cited across major LLM.
Oh, that's clever.
Really clever. Now, for daily friction, there's OsmO. It's an AI phone assistant that physically handles making and taking your daily calls.
Yeah, and the crazy part about OsmO is how it navigates corporate phone trees.
Right. Because how does an AI know to press 1 for billing?
It handles it through audio processing latency and tone recognition. It listens to the synthetic voice, parses the menu, and then outputs the exact DTMF tones, those little beeps, to navigate the system before a human even picks up.
That is insane. I love that. Okay, 2 more. Noodle Tomato. It's a content engine to generate full-length, faceless YouTube videos from simple topic prompts. Handles script, pacing, visuals, everything.
Wow.
And lastly, Fundraisly, a founder's shortcut to booking 10 to 50 qualified investor meetings in 90 days.
You know, when you look at that list, what really stands out to me is the compounding effect.
How so?
Well, think about a single solopreneur. They could theoretically use Eve to manage their internal knowledge base, OsmO to handle all inbound and outbound client calls, and Fundraisly to secure capital.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you're essentially simulating an entire corporate back office, an executive assistant, a research team, and a fundraising arm with just 3 software implementations.
Which is a perfect segue to the final provocative thought we want to leave you with today. We started this deep dive looking at the panic when labs lost access to Anthropic's top models.
Right, the single point of failure.
Exactly. But look where we ended up. With SpaceX renting out billions in hardware and Sakana proving you can orchestrate your way around model limitations, the real future of AI might not be who builds the biggest single brain.
No, probably not.
The real advantage might belong to whoever connects all these pieces together the best.
I completely agree. As these systems scale, it isn't just about raw computational power anymore. Critical thinking, strategic application, and how effectively you can synthesize these tools into a cohesive workflow, that's what will truly differentiate success from just getting overwhelmed by the noise.
Couldn't have said it better. If you found a moment today that made you think differently about where this industry is going, or if those hot tub servers finally made liquid cooling click for you, share this deep dive with a friend who loves those aha moments. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in the next